Right, the easiest part of doing translation or transformations on functions is when we're doing translations. And a translation is a slide or a shift in a direction. And so if we have some positive number b, depending on where that is in our function is which direction we're going to move it. So if we have some function and we add b to it on the outside of our function, which we'll look at what that means here in a second if that's confusing to you. Okay, if we add b, that represents a shift up of b units. If we subtract b, that means we're moving it down that many units. Now, if inside of our function we have a minus sign, that's what we call, what you can think of as the super secret opposite society. Anytime that you're inside parentheses or inside some kind of grouping thing, you actually do the opposite of what it says. So instead of, with a negative b, you'd think, oh, I should go left to the negative direction. But no, you actually go right b units. And then the same thing here, if it's inside the parentheses, this is a plus, so you'd think it would go right. But no, it's super secret opposite society, so it goes left. So, on these examples, it says graph each of the following. Before doing so, describe how each graph can be obtained from one of the basic graphs shown earlier. And so, on a video I did right before this, I showed the different parent graphs. And so x squared is one of the parent graphs, okay, that we start with. We start with x squared. So what are we doing to x squared? We're adding 4 outside of our squaring function. Okay, there's no parentheses here. So that means that this is a shift up of 4. Okay, and then I can graph this because I know what a parabola normally looks like. It's a U that opens up. I just need to shift it up 4 so that my vertex is at 0, 4. And then it goes in a U shape opening up. Now that's a pretty rough sketch, but you hopefully get the idea. For part B, this is an absolute value function. That's the parent function. And what we've done is we've added 1 inside of our absolute values. Okay, see what I mean by inside? So this is a super secret opposite society, which means that we are going to move to the left 1. Okay, if it's positive 1, we're actually going to move left 1 because it's inside of our absolute value. It's affecting the x, which means it moves it left or right. Since it's plus 1, it moves it left 1. So we're going to say shift left 1. So now when we draw it, the absolute value graph is a V, and it normally has the point of the V at 0, 0. We're just going to move it over to the left 1 and make our V. C, this is the square root function. So our parent graph is just the square root of x. And so we look at this and we say that negative 3 is on the inside of my square root function, which, since it's a negative, that's the super secret opposite society, we want to move right 3. So the square root function is kind of a weird function. It's like it starts at 0, 0 and it goes up and to the right. It's actually half of a parabola laying on its side. And so instead of starting at 0, 0, we're going to move it to the right 3, and there's our square root function. And D, it's got a kind of a complicated thing going on because our parent function is the cubic function. We're doing something inside of it and outside. So outside of my parentheses or my grouping, I take it as is. That's a negative 5, so I shift down 5. But inside that negative 4, since it's inside, we change the sign, which means that it's going right 4. So if I think about what the graph normally looks like, I'm just going to take it and move it down 5 and right 4. So this is where my pivot kind of point is, and it goes up and to the right, down and to the left from that pivot point.